Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day so far. We have another fragrance rotation video. I believe this is fragrance rotation number 13. And as always, I'm going to leave the fragrances, the day that I wore them, and the dates into the description just so you guys can keep track of everything okay. So we'll start this off. If you remember my last fragrance video, I think on Sunday I wore Sacred Flame, and it was so strong. Such a good fragrance, and it's one of those things that was a very new fragrance to me, so I actually wore it the following Monday as well. So 2 days for Sacred Flame in a row. Monday I wore this, and guys, I know it's a little bit more of a fall kind of date night fragrance, very resiny, warm, almost like a spicy orange creamsicle vibe to it. Absolutely wonderful fragrance, but I'm probably going to be saving this more for the fall time. It is very strong, again, resinous, warm, spicy. Got some citrus notes in there, so it's not too out of place in the warm weather. But for me, this is definitely more of a fall type of fragrance, dress up, date night for colder weather. Absolutely wonderful stuff. Great new release by the House of Argos. So on Tuesday, I wore one of my personal favorites from the House of Bond number 9, Gramercy Park, and this is my newer bottle of Gramercy Park. I have an old one, which was the original release, and it's about half full, being an optimist here. And I just used the new one basically because I don't want to use all the old one. I want to keep them both around to kind of compare how it's aging. And yeah, really no differences in the fragrances other than the age of them. Maybe very slight difference in the new one just because it's a little bit more fresh. But the old one and the new one extremely close. I don't think they've ever gone completely out of stock on Gramercy Park and then brought it back. But as of right now, it's not available on Bond number 9's website. Although I do believe you can still find it on the secondary market. So Wednesday, we got Roja Aoud, and this is just the regular oud, not the amber oud. Personally, more of a kind of quintessential Middle Eastern rose oud fragrance. It's not everybody's gonna like this. I personally love it, especially the base notes of the oud, the ambergris, the leather. The rhubarb in here plays a very nice transition between those slightly citrus and acidic floral rose notes as well in the top. And man, the dry down on this is just absolutely beautiful. Very fresh. Again, the rose is also very prevalent in this. So if you love rose fragrances and you love oud fragrances, I would definitely say this is one of the best Rajas for you. The amber oud is very good as well. This one, just a little bit more like a Middle Eastern traditional rose oud fragrance. So really good stuff by Roja. I know, at least for me, this is going to be a very versatile fragrance. It's not out of place in the summertime with the rose and kind of that acidic citrus notes in there, but definitely strong enough. The base notes, you can definitely wear it in the wintertime as well. So Alkout from Boadicea the Victorious was on Thursday. One of my favorite fragrances from their house. I feel like I say that about all of them, but they're all very unique. This one's very different. It has a maltol in there, which is kind of a very, very burnt caramel type of smell. I know Baccarat Rouge is famous for using maltol in there as well. Thankfully in this one, it is not overdone, although you can smell it, but you get oud in the fragrance. You get a little bit of spiciness. I know there's like pimento in there as well, some floral notes, just all around a very good fragrance, and it just continues to get better as it dries down. Still get a hint of that like burnt caramel and maltol note in there, but thankfully, like I said, it's not overly done. I don't think I would like it if it was nearly as strong as it is in like Baccarat Rouge or say like Bond number 9 Greenwich Village, some of those types of fragrances. So really good job of Boadicea for using the ingredient of maltol without it actually being overpowering. So I really appreciate that for them. Definitely still smells like a Middle Eastern fragrance, at least to me. A lot of spicy and wood notes in there. And I didn't think this fragrance had oud because, like a lot of you, I go on their website, I view the fragrance triangle. It didn't say that in there, but when you read the actual story of the fragrance, it does mention that it has oud in there. And there are a couple other ones from Boadicea that are like that, where they don't list a note in the fragrance breakdown in the triangle. And then you read the story and you pick up some different notes. I know Argos does that as well. So next, Argos, we got Pallas Athene. This pretty much completes my collection. I have samples of the Pour Homme and Pour Film, but in terms of like all the artist series and all the main bottles, this was the one to complete my collection. So man, Pallas Athene, beautiful red berry florals, definitely one of their more feminine type of fragrances, kind of like Adonis Awakens and Birth of Venus. even though I personally love both of those. But I think if you're a guy and you have the courage to wear these, you're going to get a lot of compliments, because I do get a lot of compliments on Pallas Athene. Again, lots of florals, red berry, rose, very juicy, but it's also got a lot of nice space notes in there. The sandalwood note in here is absolutely beautiful. And the dry down is really, really unique on this. Kind of turns into a very creamy, woody. You get a little bit of that floral and juicy red berry note that stick around, but just very developmental fragrance. And the more I wear Pallas Athene, the more I love it, especially during this time of year when it's hot. Technically today when I'm filming this, I believe it's the first day of fall. But if you live in the southeastern United States, that doesn't mean anything right now. I mean, we got a hurricane coming our way in probably like 4 or 5 days. So not very much of a fall feeling here down in the southeast United States. But man, Pallas Athene, beautiful stuff. If you haven't got your nose on it yet and you enjoy very fruity, floral, and sandalwood based fragrances, this one's going to be for you, man. So that was on Friday. Saturday, we have Jubilation 25, the regular Jubilation 25, not the Jubilation 40 X Straight. And this fragrance, man, I love it. I really do love it. I get really good projection and longevity out of this one. Frankincense, blackberries, got a smoked honey, oud and ambergris, got some bay leaf and clove in there as well. I mean, it's just a very, very complex fragrance. If you look at the notes on Amouage's website, it seems they put pretty much the kitchen sink into this thing, and it was a very good job of them including that many ingredients into a fragrance without making it seem, really distorted. Sometimes you're just adding stuff and it's taking away from other things. So they really did a good job of blending Jubilation 25. Really good fragrance. I know for a lot of people, one of their favorites from the entire house of Amouage, very popular. And I can see why, man, with that really, really heavy resiny frankincense and blackberry note. It's very niche and Middle Eastern feeling, while also being very mass appealing and very much gravitating towards compliments. So really good job by Amouage. I'm always going to love Jubilation 25 and the variants of that, including Jubilation 40. So just wonderful stuff by the house of Amouage. Definitely a classic fragrance here. So on Sunday, drinks and cigars, of course. One of the best fragrances to wear for drinks and cigars is Kutay from Unique and Luxury. I have a lot of fragrances that would fit that category. You look at Tobacco Sapphire, Royal Tobacco, even Silver Oud, Triumph of Bacchus. There's a lot of good fragrances to wear for like a drinks and cigars type of evening. But with the tobacco, the agar wood, and definitely what stands out the most in this is the whiskey note, a very boozy, oak forward. I mean, it almost smells like the inside of a used whiskey barrel if anyone's ever been to a distillery tour or worked for a liquor store when they've done store picks or something like that. It really just smells like the inside of a fresh charred bourbon or whiskey barrel. And a lot more to the fragrance than that. The tobacco, the agar wood, some florals in here too. But man, this stuff is just absolutely insane. Always have loved Kutay from Unique and Luxury. Very strong fragrance. I know a lot of people enjoy it from the house as well, Unique and Luxury. It's beautiful job on blending that and not really being afraid of it being too whiskey or too boozy, because I think that's one of the things that sets this fragrance apart from a lot of other ones. I mean, there's a lot of other rum-based fragrances, brandy, cognac, and this is really the only one that has a true whiskey note to my nose that I've tried that really kind of keeps it at the forefront of the fragrance instead of being something that's in the background. They were very unafraid and unapologetic when making this fragrance, and that's something that I personally love about it. It's something that lasts a long time, it projects well, and for me, one of the best things about this fragrance, along with some of the other ones I choose for this occasion, while they are strong, they don't seem to overpower, the cigar that you're smoking or the drink that you're drinking, so it doesn't really interrupt that type of experience. It kind of just blends in with it, and if anything, it kind of accentuates and heightens those notes of whatever bourbon, rye, single malt scotch. Even this one, I have to say, I don't think I'd wear this drinking single malt scotch, more for bourbon and rye, because that is really what the smell and what the whiskey note is to me on this. So there'd probably be other fragrances I would choose if I was drinking single malt scotch, but for bourbon or for whiskey, Kutay is definitely one of my top choices. So guys, appreciate you being patient with me. It's been a very busy last couple weeks. I've had a lot of stuff to do, and then I also had some people that I knew, some of my friends from high school, him and his wife came up and stayed with me, so obviously I didn't get any videos done when they were staying at my house. And that's just part of life. I hadn't seen them in a couple years, so I wasn't gonna be filming videos while they're staying with me. I thought maybe I would get them involved in one video, but we just didn't have the time. I was kind of gonna bring out some samples and some different fragrances and just have them smell them. Not really blind, they would be able to see the bottles, but that never ended up happening, and they don't really know too much about those houses. So in a lot of ways it would have been blind because they don't know what houses they're smelling and they don't have any bias towards it, but I just never got around to it, so I apologize for that. Just been very, very busy last couple weeks, so back onto the grind, back on to giving you guys some good videos. Again, I'll leave the fragrances, the dates, and the week that I wore these in the description, and we'll try to get caught up here over the next couple weeks. So great seeing you guys again. Hope you've been well, and I'll see you soon, all right? Bye.